when we introduced each other to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I think we've met before. Yeah. And I was like, I've never seen you before in my life. I was like, you're an absolute stranger.
That's so funny because when that happened, I was watching that happen. I was like, oh, he most definitely has met Nick.
No, I don't think
okay.
the man's a complete stranger to me. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Speaking of which, you know what else I've never seen before?
Huh.
Halloween 2 and Halloween 3. Is that good? Was that a good intro?
Yeah.
Did I get you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and 4. I've seen 4, though.
Yeah. Well, what do you have to say for yourself? Also, I'm going to spit this gum out before I just chew gum into the mic all for a whole hour. Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
Have you ever seen Halloween 2?
That I was pretty iffy on. I would wager no. But I'm just so familiar with it, I'd convinced myself at some point that I had.
Yeah, I know some of the beats of it,
Yeah.
but no, I don't think I'd ever seen it before the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, by the way, we're watching all the Halloween movies.
Yeah, that's the plan. Funny enough, I mean, happy Halloween, I guess.
Happy
Yeah,
Halloween.
It's just how we're going to spend our October is watching all these. And,
Chris,
yeah.
there are 12 of these movies.
Yeah. Well, we're making good progress. We're about to watch the 5th one tonight,
Yeah.
you know? And it's only the 5th of October.
Are we going to watch the new ones?
I guess so.
We're gonna run out to the theater and watch Halloween Kills.
I will begrudgingly be, yeah, I guess, yeah.
I'd like to see you change your tone when we watch Halloween 2018. I think it's a fine movie. I think it's just fine.
I really don't think it's gonna be. Because it's just one of those things where it's like, Halloween is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for what it is, Halloween.
Yeah, but for what it is, the fact that you have to say for what it is just one of those things where it's like, come on.
Well, I mean, you gotta say that about Halloween too.
Yeah.
Halloween 1, because it's a movie made for $300,000, and it's a little kitschy, but for what it is, one of the first slasher movies and the thing that created the formula, it's pretty good. And for what Halloween is...
But I wouldn't even say that's fair, because in my opinion, the thing that saves Halloween is that it was $300,000, it's a little kitschy, it's the first one to do it, and yet somehow it's the most effective to ever do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's not a slasher movie that I think like stands in comparison to like how unsettling some of those POV shots is, and like the slow stalking, and like that 30-minute chase scene that ends the movie. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre probably gets close, maybe even surpasses it with like the chase at the end. I think Scream does a really good job of like Ghostface seeming like he's actually like viscerally like going to like you're gonna get hurt if you bump into that guy.
Yeah.
But outside of those things, like does Nightmare on Elm Street really compare to like it just being bread and butter slasher? Does Friday the 13th really compare? Like in my opinion, like your forerunners for like who did the slasher horror movie best, it'd probably be real neck and neck between Scream, Halloween, and like Texas Chainsaw. So anyways, but that's what whatever. Anyways, yes. So when you're talking about like Halloween like 2018, like I'm going in and I'm like, okay, I'm expecting Scream 4.
Okay.
Wasn't even really that heavy with Scream 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm trying to really say.
I think it's
like
better.
I'm just like, ugh.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I think I saw it in theaters. I think it's better than Scream 4.
That could be true. Like I say, like it's I'm sure I'd go and have a fine time. You and I had a great time watching Scream 4. I really do think I'd have a fine time. It's just one of those things where it's like I say, just going into it, I'm like, I know that I'm gonna walk out of it, and it's definitely valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But the most valuable part of it will be the people I watched it with.
Aw.
Because that's gonna be a dog shit movie. But that's fine sometimes.
I think
that's fine sometimes.
I think I can understand not thinking it's the best, but calling that movie dog shit, I think that's a little harsh.
Okay. I thought Halloween 4 was dog shit. You
I
want
was
to
gonna
start
say,
there?
We just watched Halloween 4. I think
dog shit.
bumping these up close to each other, you're gonna watch 2018 and be like, okay, not that bad.
Well, that's what happened with Scream 4. I was kind of
Yeah.
like, shit. So Halloween 2, just
Yeah, we'll start with-
chronological.
yeah,
I
we'll
mean,
start with two.
let's do a little bit of table talk. We are not starting with Halloween just because.
We're gonna watch it on Halloween.
Well, yeah, I mean, but also, it's like it's one of those things where like, what do I compare it to? Like, we're gonna talk about dinosaurs, but we're gonna talk about T-Rexes first.
Yeah,
It's downhill
Yeah,
from
exactly.
there. You know, that's the coolest dinosaur.
That's why we're not starting this episode with Halloween 3.
Yeah. And I think it'd be a really neat idea. Personally, I think you kind of soft agreed that if with that final episode, we would kind of bundle together like the first 3 major entries into the slasher annals.
Yeah.
Black Christmas, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Halloween. I'm very excited, and also I've just been having a grand old time.
I'm excited for Black Christmas because I know it's like the first slasher movie, but I know nothing about it. I'm very excited to go into it like that.
Yeah, I know very, very little. It'll be an entirely new experience, which is kind of ironic to say about a slasher movie because, but it's kind of like a trademark of horror, though. Like, I believe it was, God, I wish I could remember the name of the academic author. I believe it was the woman who came up with the idea of the final girl.
Jamie Kennedy?
Yeah. But she was just talking about kind of how like folk tale-y horror movies and especially slasher movies are compared to like almost every other genre of storytelling. But even then, at that point, like I have to probably expand the definition out because even like a lot of dramas, like, oh, this is the story about losing a parent. This is the story about.
Yeah.
But slasher movies kind of work that way where it's like, yeah, you know how this is gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 2 or 3 twists he could throw my way, and I've actually seen them all before. But surprise me, I guess, kind of. Whatever. I'm gonna stop awkwardly rambling. Halloween 2. What the fuck did you fucking think about this fucking movie? Fucker.
Goddamn Halloween 2
was pretty alright.
It is the Rocky 2 of Halloween movies.
Yeah.
I was feeling it the whole time,
Yeah.
because my favorite thing about Rocky 2 is that if you put those 2 movies together, and
It's just a longer movie.
if you just lived in a world where movies were 4 hours long,
Yeah.
you'd be like, all right, yeah, I get this.
Yeah. First half was a little stronger, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of lost steam at the end there, but it picks up just like Rocky.
Yeah.
2 minutes before the end of the first one, and then you just go, and it feels not Rocky, but Halloween 2 feels almost like it's in real time. I feel like
that's a strength it definitely has. Yeah.
I feel like the events of this movie take place over 90 minutes. I'm sure it does. I'm sure there's some cuts here and there that we're not really thinking of, but it feels like that. Gnarly. A lot more gnarly kills in this.
Lives up to Jamie Kennedy's rules for sure.
Yeah.
One of them being that in the sequels, the body count's higher, and that the kills are more,
absolutely
in depth. There's some fucked up ones, like the lady with the sauna thing. She's getting her face melted. That was awful, horrible.
All the needles.
A lot of needles.
The one that got me the most is when the nurse turns that chair around and the doctor's there and he's got a needle in his eye and she's like, oh no.
And then he puts a needle in her eye.
No, he doesn't put a needle in his eye.
Head,
He puts it through her temple, which I feel is 1,000
into the
times
brain.
worse. Yeah, just right in the soft spot.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy with gets the back of the hammer. Love that one.
Yeah, that's awful. It was one of those things where like it was actually a provocative scene. Like it was thought provoking. The whole time I kept for like 10 minutes after that, I was like, what would be worse? Which end of the hammer would be worse?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Because that one is awful for sure. But would I prefer the other one?
I feel like the other one might take a few more hits. If you get the claw bit in the back of your head into your brain, you're dead. But like, got a couple hammer swing. Yeah, that sucks.
Ugh, awful.
I'd say, in retrospect, the most brutal kill wasn't even Michael Myers. A ambulance driver who is trying to fuck Jamie Lee Curtis this whole movie while she's in the hospital. Walks into a room and sees a dead nurse and then slips on her blood, falls right onto the back of his head.
Yeah.
And then he's gone for like 30 minutes, and then he shows up later in the car and he's like, we're gonna get out of here. we're gonna get out of here, and then he falls on the horn,
Yeah.
and then you never see him again. So I'm guessing he's dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, almost immediately, like, when he fell like that, we were both like, oh, yeah, he hit his head too hard. This is a man who is dead. And that's a great scene, actually, and I also like that. I definitely think that spices up a slasher movie a little bit. Have people die not from the killer.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, sure.
Not a lot of people, but a person, maybe, you know? Something like that. It's kind of from the killer, though. It's also, like, you can kind of tally that to him.
But also, I'd equate it to him just throwing a banana peel in the hallway and then that guy slipping on it. It's basically it's the slasher movie equivalent of a banana peel, I'd say.
See, I don't know, because that places intent. I don't think his intent was for anyone to slip in that blood.
Okay, fine.
Mask,
it's the equivalent of
him
Michael
leaving
Myers.
his laundry around.
He lifts up his mask a la Spider-Man, eats a banana, and then goes, whoop, and just throws it behind him, and then someone comes along later and slips in mask.
Yeah. That 100%.
But, yeah, I liked this movie. I don't know if I'm probably ever going to watch it again. So far, second best Halloween movie I've seen.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. I mean,
Michael Myers Halloween movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like. Well, yeah. Before I just get into scenes and stuff, I like. Chris, what did you think about fucking Halloween 2?
I thought it reminded me a lot of the general like sequel formula. Not saying it does it as well as some examples, but like Bride of Frankenstein comes to mind, or even like Terminator 2 and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, basically, the first movie, in a lot of those examples, like Terminator or Frankenstein, or even probably not Halloween, but whatever, they kind of poses like kind of a philosophical question, or like explores something about like the human experience, like to include Halloween for a minute, like fear and whatever, yada yada yada. And then the second one's like, yes, okay, a little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit more exciting, a little less heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I feel about this one. It's like a slightly hollow version of Halloween, but like it's much like your Rocky 2 example. Like it lost a little bit of steam, but it basically might as well be the first one, but just like less effective, just slightly less effective.
I would say,
emotionally at least.
To get off a topic a little bit, that's what I like so much about Rocky 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Rocky 2 isn't as classic as Rocky 1, but I feel like it has just as much heart as Rocky 1.
That's very nice.
I think.
Good to hear.
Like, on paper, like, hey, we're going to do Rocky 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the same movie, but he wins at the end.
Well, even my examples aren't great.
Yeah, but if you told me that that's what Rocky 2 is about, I'd be like, oh, fuck you, I'm probably not going to watch Rocky 2. Watching Rocky 2, I cry when he wins at the end. And I'm like, I know it's not important, and I don't cry as hard as I did at Rocky 1.
Yeah.
But, oh my God, I'm like, oh, you did it.
But even in my examples, like, Bride of Frankenstein is actually the one that, like, humanizes the monster quite a bit. You really, really fucking feel for the monster. It's got the classic scene that gets parodied in Young Frankenstein where he meets a blind man in the woods, and it's even sad in the Young Frankenstein, like how desperate that guy is. Like, oh, finally, God sent me a friend. And Terminator 2 obviously has the killing machine becoming a good friend to John Connor and sacrificing himself. So it's got some heart. But yeah, I just mean to say that it's a little bit more focused on like, let's have a good time. So right from the rip, like, strengths I think this movie has going for it is, as you said, it feels a bit real-timey, right? There's this constant sense of tension. And some of the things that I think aid that is like, I like the elements of like, I guess just off the bat, the fact that it's literally happening like no time has elapsed. Literally no time has elapsed since the last movie.
Yeah, and it starts 5 minutes before the last one ends, yeah.
And there are so many just scenes where, like, cops are going around and kind of telling people what's even happened, or people are calling people on the phone and just being like, you won't believe what's happened.
You see characters from the last one who are dead just get wheeled out on stretchers.
Yeah, and I love that because it creates this space for Michael Myers and almost this... It's almost like the textbook definition of irony that it creates, which is the idea that there's something like the audience, like, that we know that the characters don't, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, Michael Myers kind of like, this is not the proper way to say this, but he like exists in this ironic spot where like he's almost able to do whatever he wants because everyone's still kind of like in shock over what just happened, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And also, like, you just get the sense that, like, if someone saw him, would they even know?
Yeah.
Would they even know that's Michael Myers? Like, that, at this point, like, it's just so fresh that he could basically be doing whatever he wanted.
Yeah, no, because just like the first one, there's a lot of scenes of him just walking around the street and people bumping into him and having no idea. No idea.
I will point out immediately that James Ralph of Cinemassacre does point out, and I absolutely agree, what the fuck is that one guy who's dressed like Michael Myers doing? You would have no point of reference for what he's doing, wearing the white William Shatner mask and a jumpsuit.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have no... It's almost like the Zack Snyder moment where, like, Superman as, like, a 3-year-old puts on the cape.
Yeah.
Who's he emulating?
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, I guess in this world, it is just a Halloween mask that Michael Myers picked up, and it's a huge coincidence that he did that, and the jumpsuit. It was like,
sure.
I'm going to be spooky for Halloween.
And then even crazier than that is that a cop car smashes him into a fucking, like, TV repair van and then blows up.
That got me more than anything else in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
and then, like, 3 scenes later, they're like, yeah, it turns out it was, Tyler Smith. Yeah. And they never talk about it again. They never talk about that fucking teenager they murdered.
Yeah. Dr. Loomis runs at him with a gun, and I'm like, someone's going to tackle him, or he's going to get a shot off, and he's going to miss, and the guy's going to take off the mask and go, blah, and run away.
It's a very subversive scene.
Yeah. But then he does it, like, someone tackles him or whatever, he doesn't get the chance to shoot him, and then a cop car hits him, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess this guy is dying. And then the cop car runs into another cop car, and it explodes, and you watch this man burn to death.
Yeah, insane. Absolutely insane.
Isn't there... Oh, I'm thinking of 4. Never mind.
Yeah, those two are blending in my mind just a little bit, for sure. I will say, on the tension note, real quick, I love the fact that, like, I understand that this is implicit, but I just remember having this sense of, like, let's start here. In Halloween, fucking obviously, or any slasher movie, you can see who the final girl is, and you know that Michael Myers, or whoever the killer is on a slow but steady path towards meeting up with her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what I'm about to say is not necessarily unique to this movie, but I think it does a really good job of, like, and it's probably, again, owed to the fact that they're like, fuck it. It starts 5 minutes before the last one ends. There's just, like, this, the whole time I'm like, oh, man, poor Jamie. He's coming right for you. You're sitting in this hospital bed, and he's coming right for you.
Yeah.
I know exactly where he's headed. He's gonna come to you
I feel like
very soon.
He gets there a little too fast, in my opinion.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. Because, like, you see that shot of him walking by the sign that says, this way to the hospital. I'm like,
well, right before that, you actually hear him, like, he hears a police radio that says what hospital she, like, went to, whatever, and I like that. I like that he really doesn't actually have an idea of where she is until he hears that over the radio.
It's something I like about the 2018 one, is, if I remember correctly, I think he's on a mission in 2018 to get to Jamie Lee Curtis. But, like, on his way there, he's like, I'm just going to kill some people, because that's what I do. And this one, I feel like, he just takes a long walk with nothing eventful happening all the way to the hospital, and then starts killing people at the hospital.
Yeah, you might as well be listening to Walking on Sunshine. Exactly, it's just a stroll for him.
What's the song that they end this movie with?
They begin it with it as well.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
I love that. Yeah, I love it. I love that last shot of just him on fire and the bum, 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 bum. It's great. I was like, man, this feels out of time. This doesn't feel like I'd see this in Halloween 2 from 1980.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of David Lynch also does that a lot with his movies, with they're just using, like, 50s pop songs, and then also Harmony Korine does that a lot, especially with Gummo. Gummo is just full of these weird moments that become surreal, but just because of, like, whatever's being shown being juxtaposed by that, like, just weird sense that that 50s pop music is infused with, that, like, everything's kind of perfect and just fine, so there's this weird, like, way that those two things combined.
Yeah, that stuff always reminds me of, like, I think the most classic example is Stuck in the Middle with You in Reservoir Dogs. Yeah.
Or even Fallout.
Such a sucker for that.
It's exactly what Fallout is trying to do the whole time.
For every good thing I have to say about this movie, I will say, not a movie that, like, had my attention the whole time. Like, How does Dr. Loomis get to the hospital? I don't fucking know. Like, I think someone says something to him, and then he takes a cop hostage and has him drive him there. But how did that woman get in the car? I don't remember. If we're being honest, halfway through this movie, you looked at me at one point and went, so some Beatles news. I like Paul more than I like John. And we talked about that for a good while this movie was playing. But still, I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I will say also, things that I don't like about it is, again, just like to cite Jamie Kennedy. I don't like when sequels are like, yeah, but guess what? It was his brother, or
that's
actually he's his mom.
Worst
or
part
like,
of this movie.
Yeah, I don't like when sequels do that. Even if it's supposed to be meta commentary about like how like, oh, it's a staple of the genre, always happens. There's way more interesting things you can do with your story other than being like, actually they were related. And I understand that this is perhaps maybe the first slasher movie to do it, but still, not a good plot.
Yeah, it sucks.
Point or plot beat or anything. I don't like it. And in fact, it probably also has like roots all the way back to Son of Dracula. When Lon Chaney Jr. was running around calling himself Alucard, and then someone sees fucking, the shit in reverse, and they're like, oh no, I think he is Dracula or something, or they realize that he is the son of Dracula or something, whatever it is.
I heard a really good take today, speaking of like meta commentary and stuff like that. Sorry to keep jumping back to Halloween 1. We'll talk, we can talk about this more when we talk about Halloween 1. But I heard someone bring up, because they were talking about what makes Halloween 1 so good.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, like, this and Texas Chainsaw feel like they're slasher movies, but they're just early enough that they're kind of trying to say something with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And how Texas Chainsaw and Halloween are, like, pretty similar, but, like, opposite sides of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, like, thing of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, like, hey, there's places in the world now that you just can't go.
Mm-hmm.
Things are getting worse. If you go to this place, you will die. You can't just hop in your car and drive anymore. Like, that shit will happen to you. And then Halloween is, hey, now the shit's coming to your neighborhood. I'm like, oh, I never thought about these two movies like that. That's really really interesting thing to think.
Yeah.
Like, even like in Halloween 1, when they like see Michael Myers around town, they're like, hey, you fucker, fuck off. And it's like, why are you doing this to this just strange man? Are you insane? But it's like, yeah, no, that's just the place that these people live and in the time that they live. That's nothing to them. You can just yell at strangers. But it's like, oh no, not no more.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it immediately makes me think of white people being afraid of brown communities.
Yeah, no,
like,
that's exactly.
You can't go anywhere, and they're invading our neighborhood.
Yep.
Awful. I'm sure there's no real parallel there, but just it's the first thing that came to mind. But yeah, I mean, we can talk about it more with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing, and I think I've already talked to you about it before, and I'm sure you've read about it and heard other people talk about it. But yeah, that's one of the things that's like kind of like on the underbelly of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing is that like, well, the industry has left that area. So now crime exists. It basically is a story about how poverty equals crime, in a sense. I mean, it's grotesque and over the top that, the idea that, like, people would start, killing people to eat their meat because they're, like, if you're like, hey, we're just going to eat people because there's not enough work to go around for us to be able to buy cow. So anyways, I'm trying to think about the rest of the movie. I will say I think it's really neat that Michael and Jamie are in so little of it, it feels like. Yeah. This does a really good job, at least in my opinion, of like something that sequels have a hard time doing, especially sequels where your cast is replaced.
Yeah.
I kind of like. I'm not saying I love them, but I like the people that this is replaced with.
I do not. I think they're just fodder. I can't tell you any of their names or any of their motivations. I know the pot-smoking guy that wants to fuck the nurse, and that's pretty much it.
I don't remember their names either, but it's a lot less egregious than, like, if I could ever convince you to watch, like, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Like, the sequels and that, you'd be like, no, these are good. These are good.
I'd love to watch. We watched a few together, but, yeah, I'd love to really watch them. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone besides Jamie Lee Curtis.
I'll tell you, they're better than the fucking Annie character in Halloween 4.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna
return to that soon.
Sorry, I rebooted, I guess. No, I'd say like nobody in Halloween 1 is that memorable besides Jamie Lee Curtis to me either. But I don't know. They're just dumb, fun kids having dumb fun on Halloween, so that was a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, I guess maybe a better way to articulate it then is that it's like before the genre evolved, which did not take long. It took like a year before like everybody in the slasher genre was just like, oh hey, yeah, and then you've got the stoner,
Yeah.
and then you've got the jock,
Yep.
and then you've got the big titted babe, and like so this is a movie where it's like they're just normal people. They work a job. They're funny enough. They're nice enough.
Except
maybe
for,
they say some weird shit sometimes.
with the exception of the stoner orderly and the big titted nurse.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like in future slasher films, like there's like Friday the 13th part 2 or 3, I want to say, where straight up the stoner character is wearing a tie-dye headband, a tie-dye shirt, has like a beard, is wearing like, you know, John Lennon / Cheech and Chong like colored little glasses, and the whole time he's like, whoa man, where are all my joints? That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he's a stoner, but he's also just a guy that smokes weed, you know. He's like not like he's not Shaggy Rogers yet, you know.
It kind of sounds like Shaggy Rogers to me.
No, but yeah, the guy I'm describing,
okay.
but
You
yeah,
mean this guy
I'm
in
saying in this
Halloween
movie
too,
it has not progressed to the point where, like, you know, he's also not an orderly that's like, look guys, I tie-dyed my outfit, you know. So it's just fine, is what I'm saying. It's fine. They're just people, and I like that they're just people. They're not caricatures yet.
Yeah.
And then other than that, like, what? Yeah, I guess I like Michael getting his eyes gouged out.
He's just blindly swinging around the room for a little bit too long.
Yeah.
He doesn't get him gouged out. He gets both of them shot out.
Oh, yeah, shot out, right, yeah. I like that a little less.
Yeah, I like the setup for the scene. I like the idea of it, but just watching him in the room going swoosh, 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 swoosh into midair while that big cartoony swoosh sound effect is happening. Didn't love it.
Okay.
But I liked him filling the room with gas. Love Dr. Loomis in this movie. I love him in 4 as well. I think he's going to be the only thing I like about these movies going forward, probably. I like how he seems to be just getting more and more insane. I love the room exploding, and I love Michael Myers walking out on fire for a little bit. Felt very much so like The Thing.
I've not seen it.
The original Thing. The Thing from Another Planet or whatever it's called. Which, fun fact, is playing on the TV in Halloween 1 and also got remade by John Carpenter later. So it's got to be an homage to that.
I don't have anything else to say about this movie, I don't think.
Me neither.
2, by the way, I'm gonna put it right in like the C plus B minus range. You know, I'm always way more harsh on sequels.
Yeah.
You know, just because I'm genuinely like we've talked about it before. I generally don't like sequels much. Just because, you know, yes, of course you've got Terminator 2. Or like The Godfather 2, but just frequently it's usually a slight misstep. It's usually not as good as the first one.
Yeah.
Just usually.
Yeah, that's how I feel about this one. It tried. It was okay. It's a fine, competent movie. I wasn't upset watching it at any point, but I don't think I'll ever see it again. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, if this was called Halloween 1, it would be a bad movie.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be like, why? Well, what's happening here? I feel like I'm missing a whole movie.
Yes.
But no,
you know, there are plenty of movies that start at a place where it's like
Yeah.
a whole movie could have happened before this, and then they're like Hannibal Rising.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd give this like I'd give it a C. B minus. No, B minus.
Okay. Because I can't find another way out of the way I started this sentence, I'll just say we should talk about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch now.
Chris?
Yes.
Tell me your history with Halloween 3.
Saw it almost a year ago to this day.
Wow.
Initially, pretty much hated it.
Yeah.
I liked that it reminded me a bit of like in my opinion, is like one of the archetypical. God, I can't talk today. Archetypal, like this is like one of the molds that like I'm not saying this is the movie they were looking at, but it's one of the things that like the 80s was doing that like obviously like Stranger Things is like really related to. Soundtrack, very aesthetic, kind of sci-fi. You know, if it didn't have Halloween on it, you know. I like some of those things, but there were definitely some real big things that I was like, I kind of fucking hated this, and I kind of fucking hated this, and I don't know. Overall, nah, not for me. And then I don't know. I thought about it more, and I thought about it more, and I thought about it more. And honestly, I kept thinking about it every now and again for about a year. And pretty soon in, like a month into thinking about it, I was like, I think I kind of like that thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, at this point, I like this movie a lot. I like this movie a lot. For context, I also like shit like Logan's Run, though. You know, just 70s, just like we all die when we're 32, and we have to go to. I can't even remember what it's called. There's like it's Kismet, and you go and you're supposed to die and be reborn, and you know whatever. Sci-fi bullshit, just sci-fi bullshit. I love just sci-fi bullshit. What about you? What's your? Give me the loot.
I'd known about Halloween 3 for a long time. Never watched it because it's the one that doesn't have Michael Myers in it, and I've always heard generally that this movie's bad. Kind of from you. I was privy to your journey, and you give me your thoughts every now and then on it. Your big thing always being, I don't like anybody in this movie. Everybody's a piece of shit. Yeah. The other night was the first time I had seen this. I fucking love this movie. It is so much fun.
Yeah.
And I'd say maybe my favorite part is that everyone's a huge piece of shit in this movie, and I don't like any of them.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, you know, something that, like, I now sing its praises for is, like, it's, I think a really good example of, like, an anti-hero before it was, like, cool to be an anti-hero. You know what I mean?
And I like that he's an anti-hero, and I like he's just a flawed...
To the degree that he's not even that cool.
Oh, yeah, he's just a man.
Yeah.
But
he's just a guy.
Think he
has a job. He's a bit of an alcoholic. He's kind of a deadbeat dad.
Like, I love that idea and what they're going for there, but there are so many missteps with what they do in this movie, especially with him, that it becomes comical. And I like him even less, and it like implies things about him that I'm pretty sure they didn't mean to be, but it makes me love it even more. The biggest thing being the girl. Because plot of this movie, crazy man's running around with a mask, and he's like, they're coming to kill us all, they're coming to kill us all. And he goes to the hospital, and his doctor's like, oh man, this guy's crazy. And then a robot comes and pulls the skull apart. And the doctor's our main character, who's an alcoholic and separated from his wife and has 2 kids. It's like, man, that was crazy. And that guy's daughter goes, hey, Doc, did my dad say anything weird to you? And he's like, no, he said that he loved you. And she's like, that was nice, but I gotta go see what's going on. And he's like, you know what? This is eating at me too. I'm coming with you. And that idea of I guess her going to the doctor and the doctor being like, yeah, something's fucked up. Maybe someone should look at this.
He's like, you know what? We should go get a hotel together and really look over the data.
That's where it turns for me. Absolutely, is when he's on the payphone with his ex-wife,
holding a 6-pack, like
holding a 6-pack.
Ma, no, I told you, I really can't tonight. I really can't. Yeah. I got something else going on, Ma.
And like, I think the implication is supposed to be like, here's just another look at, you know, hey, he's an alcoholic and this guy's flawed.
Yeah.
But his alcoholism never really plays into it. So like you said, it very much so just becomes him being like, I'm going to go fuck this chick.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a 6-pack and I'm going to go fuck this chick. Who is more than half his age.
Yeah, like just physically looking at them. Their ages are never stated, but it's obvious.
Oh, yeah.
It's obvious that he's 2 of her, for sure.
Yeah, there's no chemistry between them at all.
No.
He looks like he could be her dad. Or her uncle, more likely, or her dad's creepy friends.
This was the big sin that the movie committed, that I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm not a fan. You know, if you're in one, whatever. But I feel like it's not healthy for films to portray that much of a age difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
In even a neutral light.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be in a slightly bad light usually.
And it's also like another movie sin that I hate is like the forced romance between the two main characters. Hate that shit always when it happens. But especially this one. Like we're saying, she's young, she's hot, he's old, he's gross.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the hotel, which is nearby the Silver Shamrock Corporation or whatever. And they're in the hotel room. They've known each other all of this afternoon. And they're in the hotel, and he goes, "Oh, I'll go sleep, in the car." And she goes, "Where would you like to sleep?"
I was like, fuck, I didn't know this was a porn.
And
okay.
it's like, fucking all right. And then we watch them fuck.
Yeah.
And I said it while we're watching the movie. It's like, I can't imagine being this actress and just being like, "Oh yeah, this guy's gonna suck on my titty in this movie about haunted Halloween masks. Yeah, we need this guy to put his mouth on my body. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
But anyways, those things aside, right from the rip, great title.
yeah.
Sequence.
No witches in this movie. It's called Season of the Witch.
Yeah. That's true.
But you meant the title sequence. Okay, I get you. I thought you meant like, oh, Season of the Witch is a good title.
It is a good title also. You're right.
But no, you're right. I love the opening credits with the computer pumpkin because it's like, how do we let people know that Halloween? It's not your dad's Halloween. It's the '80s.
Oh, and then let's jump back to the tail end of this movie, back to his alcoholism. I love when he finally gets a hold of his wife on the phone, and he's so frantic and like whispering that she's like, "You're fucking hammered." She's like, "No, I'm not. I swear they're gonna kill us all."
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where like the scene doesn't even play out like tacky. Like I feel like I've seen that scene a million times. I think when it's like, babe, you gotta listen to me. She's like, "Oh, you're too stoned. I'll talk to you later."
Yeah, because it almost feels like it's happening in the middle of something. Like he's in the middle of running away and just happens to find this phone.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Fuck, that didn't work." Hangs up and then keeps running. It's like, well, that's great. And it's like one shot, and I like it.
Yeah. Also, love real quick. Just a shout out to the Scooby-Doo style rack of masks trying to run from pillar to pillar. That's
so
good. I also love the setup of just so much like just aesthetic in this whole fucking thing. Like I love their hideout is just like a warehouse, but just like a circle of computers that a bunch of robots are standing in, like working on shit, and then there's like a piece of Stonehenge that I guess he stole.
Yeah.
That he's putting a little bit into the circuitry of every mask so that he can turn their skull into spiders and snakes.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of this movie is every single plot point in this movie has a big, heavy scoop of just go with us here.
Yeah.
Just for a minute, just go along with this.
And that's cool.
Like the movie starts with them being like, "Oh, there's these Halloween masks. Kids can't get enough of them."
Yeah.
Every kid's got one of these 3 identical masks. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. And then it's like, also we got these commercials airing by the Silver Shamrock
commercials. They're great.
Yeah, London Bridges. 5 more days till Halloween. And everyone's like, "Ooh, gotta put my mask on and sit in front of the TV and watch this commercial." And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then even like, "Oh, we gotta go investigate this." Okay. There's a bunch of robots working at this facility? Okay. Oh, also, the masks all have a little bit of dust from Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Okay, because Stonehenge is magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when these kids put these masks on and this commercial airs, it'll send a signal to the Stonehenge dust that will turn their head into snakes, or a laser beam will shoot through them, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Also, the robots, I'm sure there's like a third ancestor in this line that like they're both referencing that I just don't know or whatever, but robots are a lot like the robots in The World's End.
Yeah.
Full of just a colored liquid and whatnot,
I will say the gnarliest thing I've ever seen in a Halloween movie, or any like slasher movie for that matter, is when the robot goes to the dude in the hospital and pokes his eyes out with his index finger and thumb, and then grabs
the skull
in between them and just pulls it out and like elongates his face. That shit's insane. And when the lady gets the laser through the mouth, that shit was gnarly.
That was gnarly.
The movie was more gnarly than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing kind of feels like Salem's Lot to me, in a way.
Better, though.
Much better.
Sucked, yeah. Salem's Lot sucked.
Like, it gives me, like, Stephen King TV movie vibes, kind of. But just shit like that will get me out of nowhere. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, this movie feels a lot like I guess you would just call it like a cult classic. That it feels like a movie where like you watch it and you almost found like you found something special.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh man, no, I know, yeah, I get it, but you just watch it. I'm serious. Just give it a chance.
Oh yeah, no,
It feels like
I
one of
did
those
that to like
things.
3 people at work the next day. I was like, yo, you have to see Halloween 3. And I'm telling them about it. I'm like, I'm telling you the whole plot because that's not what's important about this movie. And everyone I told it to was like, yeah, I'm never watching that movie. And I'm like, oh, you have to. It's so good.
That's kind of how I feel about like Logan's Run. Literally. Have you seen Logan's Run?
I have not seen Logan's Run.
I'm going to spoil the very end. Also, I'm kind of editorializing a little bit, but it's pretty much the implication. It's a society where at 32, you die, but they've convinced everybody that you get reborn. So you're rebirthing or something like that. Not true. They just kill you.
Oh, no.
And your main guy is a guy who like hunts down people who run away or whatever, or like people who are like running away from their like whatever. And outside of the community, it's been whispered about that there's like there's another community out there of people who've gotten away and stuff like that, and they just live into their old age and stuff like that. And they go out there, and that's not true. But they do find one old guy who's just been living out there alone, and they bring him back, and everybody comes out of the like community or whatever, and all of the women rush over and they touch his face and stuff like that, and it seems like they want to fuck this old man because they've never seen an old man before. And that's how it ends.
Wow.
With all these ladies kind of just like touching on this old man. It seems a little bit like they all want to fuck him.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot to unpack there, but we'll get into
also,
it next time.
Logan Run, the main character, that's his name.
His name is Logan Run?
No.
Oh.
But he sees a cat for the first time when he goes out. The old man hangs out with a bunch of cats. You know, so that's nice. There's also a part where they're escaping the city, I think, where they run into like an ice monster.
Cool.
Or an ice robot. You have to fight the ice robot.
Just sounds like The Giver, but better to me.
It's a good way to put it. The Giver sucked quite a bit. I don't like to say that things sucked very often, and I've done it twice in this podcast. I feel like I just sound like a 13-year-old with a backwards cap. Like I'm just like, you know that Bram Stoker's Dracula, that sucked. That really sucked. But The Giver really did. It was an awful, awful read. I should have probably read it when I was in like 3rd grade, and I didn't. Instead, I read it as like a 23-year-old man.
You read it in middle school.
Yeah.
I remember reading it in middle school and being like, this is dog shit.
Yeah, not good.
I hated almost every book I read in middle school.
Yeah.
Everyone loved The Outsiders. I think that...
No, that Outsiders never fucking did it for me.
Yeah, The Outsiders.
Don't remember dog shit about that book.
Well, I remember a lot of it. I fucking hate it.
I remember Stay Gold Pony Boy because everybody was obsessed with that.
Yep.
I enjoyed the leather jackets.
I remember them running away and cutting their hair. One of them's name is Soda Pop.
I remember that Soda Pop thing. Yeah, I don't remember the cutting the hair thing.
Big brawl. But it just... I hated it.
And someone like dies in the fight or something?
Maybe. I had more fun. I enjoyed reading Ella Enchanted more.
Halloween 3. What else really goes on? This other crazy stuff goes on. That's something I want to point out. I love, and perhaps my favorite part of this movie, although that's disrespectful to the rest of the movie because the rest of the movie is gold in my opinion, is the scene where it just keeps jumping from city to city and showing all the kids like just doing Halloween stuff. And it reminds me of again, I'm gonna bite off of a little bit of Cinemassacre real quick. Just one of those things where there's a lot of horror movies. But there aren't a lot of movies that just do that like just kind of do like Halloween or like try to capture that time, you know. So just to see that depicted in that way, it's a very like nostalgic kind of like little sequence, and I like it a lot. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do it now. Before we finish Halloween 3, do you want to just talk about Halloween 4? No, I'm kidding. Let's wrap up Halloween 3 and then I'll talk about it.
Last 2 things I love about Halloween 3. I love the score. I think it's great. John
Carpenter
very well. Fucking ripping it.
Killing it.
I think he's perfect at that synth kind of shit. It's great.
I'll tell you what. I love when our mustached hero is like tied up and he throws the mask right over the camera.
Yeah.
That's great.
I love when he dumps all the Stonehenge discs all over the robot and it makes like a seance circle out of the computers.
And I love that goes on to kill the witch, is what I'm going to refer to him as.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, I like that. I know he doesn't say this verbatim, but he basically goes, "Well done."
Yeah. What is his? Why is he doing this, Chris?
There was a point where you were looking something up as he gave his big like evil monologue.
Okay.
And he goes on about how he's Irish and back in Ireland and whatnot, and just back in the day in general, like, you know, Halloween had an importance. You know, it was sacrificial, it was magic, the harvest, yada, yada, yada. It's time to make a big sacrifice for the harvest, for the betterment of mankind in the future, and the planets are in line, and this is the time when we really need to offer something up.
Okay.
You know.
I buy it.
Yeah, it's a very good speech, too. It's nice. It's while our mustache is tied up and he's, like, behind the TV, just, you know, going on about it. Going on about taking Halloween back to its roots.
Cool.
Yeah.
I also love, I know you love it too, ending of this movie.
Yeah, but before we get there, I just remembered, you liked this scene in Halloween 2. Let's go back to Halloween 2 for a second. I did not like this scene. For some reason, Michael Myers takes a detour to break into a school, notices a drawing of a family, stabs the sister in the drawing, and then writes Sam Hain in blood on the chalkboard, and then goes back to doing what he was supposed to be doing.
I like some of it. I buy the idea that he made a detour through a school, saw that picture, he's on a hunt to kill his sister, put a knife through the sister in the picture, and then left. I don't like him writing anything on the whiteboard or the chalkboard, and I really don't like them seeing the picture and then Dr. Loomis going, "It's the sister. He's hunting for his sister." And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You could have just been like, showed it and been like, ugh, and then moved on.
Back to Halloween 3. Yes, the ending is fucking phenomenal. I love him in a mad dash with minutes to spare, trying to stop the commercial that'll turn all the kids' heads into snakes, and like him being on the phone with like, who? I don't know. How he got this number? I don't know. Huge plot holes. Who is he calling?
Operator, get me TV.
Yeah, and he's asking the guy, because there's only 3 channels, because it's 1978 or whatever the fuck, or 81, 1981, who knows. And he's just like, you gotta take it off. You gotta believe me. It's gonna turn all the kids' heads into snakes. Take it off the first channel. Take it off the second one. Oh, God, it's still on the third one. Oh, God, Christ, you gotta get it up. Cut the black, basically, and you're just like, damn, I hope they got it off that third channel.
No,
because the whole time, the kids, like, it would go off the first one, and then they would just turn the channel to the second one. And, like, in the actual gas station, there's, like, kids sitting there watching the TV, and he's like, it's on the second one, get it off. Oh, Christ, it's on the third one, you gotta pull it. Why haven't you pulled it yet? Pull it. It's great.
Love it.
Yeah, great.
I would give Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, unironically, an A+.
Yeah.
Fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a blast.
Yeah. I was going to give it like an A. And yeah, it earns that A for sure. In a specific way movies can, when they're just like, hey, you know, fuck it. You can come along if you want, or you can not, but we're going to take it seriously. Not going to take it too seriously. We're just going to treat it like we're making a fucking movie. You can like the movie, you cannot like the movie, but we're making it.
Fun fact, this movie was critically panned when it came out. Everybody hated it. But then the novelization became a bestseller. People love the book.
The fourth one also got turned into a novelization.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. I read it.
Yeah?
So did you. Let's talk about it. Book club time. No, I'm kidding. But, yeah, so the fourth one.
The Return of Michael Myers.
Yeah, I will give this fun fact that I read, which is basically that John Carpenter had a guy that wrote a script, and he liked it, and he was like, yeah, I like this. And it's like, you know, Michael Myers, but he's kind of like a psychological, like, trauma embodiment ghost, and it's going to kind of, like, explore the psychology of, like, the effect that, like, the events of the first 2 movies had on the citizens of Haddonfield, yada, yada, yada. And he brought that to the people who wanted to finance the picture, and they were like, so we're going in another direction. And, yeah, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill were like, okay, cool. You guys can buy us out, and we're out of here then. And so then they made, The Return of Michael Myers.
Dog shit.
Yeah,
this movie sucks. Oh my god, this movie's so bad.
Such a bummer. It was honestly a real big bummer.
Yeah.
Really bummed me out. This is a movie. Here's two ways I'd like to describe it. First way I like to describe it is it reminds me of those tweets where it's like, "Hey, we fed 600 Olive Garden commercials to an AI, and it wrote its own." You know?
Okay,
yeah. It's like that, but they fed the first two Halloweens to the robot, and then and so yeah, the other way I'll describe it is like it's almost like taco salad if like all the ingredients of the first couple Halloweens were there, and they just chug it all up, like because like everything's there, but just at like a 13% effectivency rating. It at one point I told you like it feels like in my head at least like the door closed on like John Carpenter like walking away from the project, and they were just like, all right, we got some cameras, we can make this, we can do this easy.
Yeah. An analogy that I think will resonate with me and you alone. It's like when you get up and you make coffee, and you put 6 scoops in, and then you put 6 cups of water in, and the coffee pot gives you 4. And you're like, I'm late for work, I'm drinking this coffee, and you're drinking it, and you're like, oh, fuck, this is awful.
Yeah.
This is just...
Yeah, most of the mornings you leave me coffee, I'm always like, what the fuck is he doing? This is too much coffee and too little water.
I mean, I try. I really try. I put 6 scoops in. I put 6 things of water in, and then it gives me 4, and then I dump a little bit more water in there, and it gives me about 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, good enough. And so, yeah, and you're like, oh, fuck. I mean, yeah, this is coffee, and it's keeping me awake.
Yeah.
So I'm going to drink it, but I'm not happy about it at all. I know what coffee can be, and it's not this.
Yeah. It's scraping the bottom of the barrel, much like this film. First off, Michael Myers looks like fucking dog shit. The mask is awful. I read that the stuntman or the guy who plays him was like wearing fucking football pads underneath his shit. He looks bulky and weird, and I fucking hate it.
Fun fact about the masks. They ordered the masks from some company that makes masks, I guess. And when they arrived, they were pink with blonde hair. And they're like, well, fuck. So they painted all the masks white and dyed all the hair brown.
Yeah.
Except one mask got slipped in production one day that was pink with blonde hair. And just nobody said anything. And didn't have money for reshoots. So there are a couple scenes in this movie where he has blonde hair and a pink face. And it's really noticeable. Really noticeable.
Yeah. Fun fact about Halloween 2, this is the movie we keep returning to the most, or at least I keep returning us to. Mask looks shittier in the second one.
Yep.
Just because Deborah Hill smoked a bunch around it. Apparently it deteriorated the mask. That's who hung on to it after the movie was over. And she just smoked so much, it just was falling apart.
There are a couple scenes in Halloween 1 where you can see a puff of smoke come in off the screen because John Carpenter was just next to the camera chain smoking all day long.
Yeah. On a side note, that was something I was just talking about with Will. Who quit smoking? The coolest people quit smoking. John Waters quit smoking. John Carpenter quit smoking. Bob Dylan quit smoking. Paul McCartney quit smoking. The only person left smoking these days, I think, is David Lynch. But even he quit for like 20 years, and then he just eventually was like, nah, I'm going back.
That's the dream.
Quit for like 20 years and then go back?
Yeah. I do plan on quitting.
Yeah. And then returning.
When
just like Michael Myers.
60 or 70,
yeah.
It won't be as good as before, but... So, plot of this movie...
Oh, Bill Hicks also quit, but...
Plot of this movie, right off the bat, Jamie Lee Curtis had a kid, and now she's dead? Is she dead? No, because she comes back in the other ones. What happened to Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie?
She didn't want to come back for the movie.
No, I know, but the character, what happened?
It's about as far as they thought about it was, well, she doesn't want to come back.
So do they
being funny. They don't say.
Then why is this girl being adopted by this family?
There's just a conversation in the beginning where she says... It's been 11 months. I want to go back to my mom. And I think in the original script, she was supposed to have died in a car accident. But I don't think it's said. I think she just kind of gave up little Jamie.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
Anyway, little Jamie's like, I don't like being here. And everybody in the family's like, we don't really like you being here, but also we do. They're giving this girl a lot of mixed signals.
Yeah. This family, she's definitely getting treated like Harry Potter, kind of.
She lives under the stairs for sure.
Let's try to do a little research real quick.
I'm already doing it.
Even the fucking...
Wikipedia doesn't tell you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I straight up think the movie does not say... Where is Laurie? in Halloween 4, revealed to have died in a car accident with the role of protagonist taken up by the young daughter.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't think that
We'll
was
see
said
how
in the
they-
movie. Like, I remember reading that about the original script.
Well, I'm sure they'll explain it when she comes back in Halloween 6.
No, she doesn't. I don't think she returns until
H2O.
H2O.
Is that not 6? Is that 7?
That's 7 or 8, yeah. Because there's Halloween, Resurrection.
Anyway, the parents are like, we're going to go get fucked up tonight and the babysitter canceled, so you
Yeah.
got to watch this little shit that nobody wants. And she's like, and then she goes up to her room and just has nightmares about or visions of Michael Myers. Why? Don't know. Is it explained? No.
Yeah, where did she see Michael? How would she know? I guess it's supposed to be like well, this is a trilogy, right, of the next 3, so I guess it plays into like the supernatural elements that are about to be kind of like imposed upon this story. Yeah, yawn is right. I mean, what I have to say about this whole fucking thing, this like
spoilers. I heard that in one of these later movies, they explain how Michael Myers knew how to drive in Halloween 1.
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
One of them also, I don't know if you've heard about this, but it takes place inside of a house and it's live streamed on the internet and they're all wearing body cams.
This is a Halloween movie?
Yeah.
This is the one with Coolio in it?
Is it Coolio? I thought it was Busta Rhymes. There's one with Busta Rhymes where he's dressed up as Michael Myers, expecting to scare people in the house. Because, they're in the Michael Myers house.
Busta Rhymes is in Chucky?
No. Chucky has, I think Red Man in it.
Okay, then he's in Leprechaun?
Busta Rhymes is definitely in the one I'm thinking of. He dresses up as Michael Myers, and he's trying to scare people that are doing this thing, right? This, like, you're locked in all night with the shit strapped to your chest. And then he bumps into the actual Michael Myers, and he's like, what the fuck? You doing my shit? He's like, come on, you fucker, idiot, this isn't gonna be fucking, take that shit off, take that shit off. And then I think he gets into like a little bit of a fist fight with Michael or something. I think he lives till pretty much the end. I don't know how he comes to that much of a confrontation with Michael Myers and doesn't die, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't die till the end. Anyways, that's quite a movie to look forward to.
Okay, you are right. Coolio is not in any Halloween movies. It was Busta Rhymes.
Anyways, so that's not the movie we're talking about. The best thing that this movie has going for it is, again, the title sequence.
Real good.
Yeah, it's just that vague, nostalgic, Halloweenish. It's desolate too. It's like really like creepy. It's almost like, yeah, it's genuinely probably the scariest part of this movie to me.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I'm like, ooh, creepy. All right, cornfield, no one's around. Sunset, okay.
I'd say my favorite part of this movie, besides that, is Dr. Loomis again.
Ah, yes.
And
yes,
that
yes,
there
yes.
are a few times in this movie where people say to him something that should have been said to him these other 2 movies. So they go, hey, Dr. Loomis, you're an insane person. Like, I get what you're doing here, and yeah, Michael Myers is a big deal.
Yeah.
But you are fucking an insane person.
Yeah, that's very funny. Yeah, otherwise just yawn. Like, it's, yeah, I don't like any of these characters. I don't like the situation that they've set up for, like, immediately, like, I spent a long time just ranting and raving, and you weren't really having it, but I was really fucking wanting to have it, which is just like, why does he want to go after his niece now? How does he know his niece exists? How does he know his niece exists? And how does Dr. Loomis know that that's what Michael Myers wants to do, is go kill his niece? Like, why would that be the next thing that he does? Like,
If I remember correctly, I think he stumbles on, like, an open manila envelope with a picture of her in it or some shit like that.
In the movie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, when they see him at the beginning,
Yeah.
he's all wrapped up in bandages because
Yeah.
he got burned.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of 2,
Mm-hmm.
this girl, 6, 7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
is he recovering from the burn 7 years later still? Huh?
And also, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, this movie looks
Not
like
good.
a Disney Channel movie.
Yeah, not good. Doesn't. Oh, apparently it was shot in that specific aspect ratio. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it was to save money or some shit like that. It was like cheaper to shoot in that aspect ratio that they shot in. I don't know if that matters much, but it's obvious that they were trying to cut corners, is all I mean to say. I mean, look at that fucking mask.
Yeah.
Look at the way that shit looks.
The soundtrack is garbage. It's a bunch of remixes of the Halloween score,
Yeah.
which suck. But the first time you hear it, it's not a remix, and it's literally just people walking him out on a stretcher, and it feels like an action movie where it's like, bum, 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 and it's like,
Yeah.
uh-oh, he's back. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Don't like
fucking
that.
no. Can't
Also-
remember him killing anyone in this movie. Don't know what any of the...
Oh, I do. Just because he does it twice. He smushes his thumb into people's foreheads. You remember that when he squishes
Yeah.
his thumb in?
Yeah, okay, yeah, your bread's coming back, yeah.
You liked the priest scene?
Oh my
They're in the
god, the
car.
priest is the best part of this movie. Just crazy priest picks up Dr. Loomis, who is hitchhiking.
He's drinking and driving
He's
also.
drinking and driving, and he's just in this shitty beat up car, and he's like, his sleeves are like cut off of his priest uniform, and he's just like, I'm out here fighting the devil, and he's got all these stickers all over his car that say I love you. He's like, Mister, I can see it in your eyes too. You're out here fighting the apocalypse. And Dr. Loomis is like, And he goes, and you're a man who has seen it, and Dr. Loomis is like, you're right, I have seen it. And the priest pulls out a bottle and drinks from it, and he's like, you want some? And Dr. Loomis, without saying anything, is just like, and takes it. And they're just having the best time. And I want an entire movie of just these two guys getting to
And also,
these.
fun fact, that would be a time in U.S. history where if they got pulled over, the cop would be like, oh, you guys get home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Drunk driving wasn't really that big of a deal until, like, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving thing happened
Really?
in the late 80s, early 90s, yeah.
Ugh.
So anyways, yeah, this is a piece of shit movie. Michael Myers kills some people. It ends with a weird, like, oh, is little Jamie gonna become the next Michael? Because she, like, kills her foster sister or whatever wearing a clown costume. And I hate it. I hate the good old boys who, like, rally together.
Oh,
and they
forgot about them.
Yeah, they accidentally kill a guy who's dressed as Michael Myers. I do kind of like that element, the idea of like, oh, there's everybody's dressed up like Michael, but then also just don't.
I'd like to talk about the good old boys for a second.
Oh, okay, sure.
In Chicago, right outside of Chicago, there's all these hicks drinking at a bar. For some reason, I don't remember why, one of them calls the police station, and the phone just rings and rings and rings, and he goes, well, that's not right. If the police's phone is just ringing and ringing and ringing, something's got to be wrong. Well, come on. And 20 to 30 hicks just get in their trucks and just beeline for the police station, and then they're on the hunt because Dr. Loomis is like, yeah, go fuck them up. We need you guys. Go. Because all the cops are dead because, like so many scenes in this movie, Dr. Loomis and the police chief show up to the station, and it is just destroyed. A hurricane came through here, and it was Michael Myers, apparently. There's so many scenes in this movie where people show up to something and go, oh.
Something happened here.
Something interesting just happened here.
Yeah.
Not something we're going to show you, but
Because we're trying to save on the budget. But yeah, something
we'll tell
interesting
ya.
did happen.
something pretty cool just happened here. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's go. Let's watch this girl buy a Halloween costume.
I hate so many scenes in this. I hate when...
I'd argue that I hate all the scenes in this.
Yeah, Jamie and...
Except the priest.
Jamie and her older sister, foster sister, are, like, lost and just the only people on the street, and yet, like, the foster sister keeps yelling Jamie, and it's just one of those things where, like, at the time I was like, please stop. You don't see anybody. As soon as you see someone,
Yeah.
you know what she's wearing, too. Like, when you think she's hiding in a bush or something, like, just keep walking.
Craziest part about that scene to me is they show Jamie walking around, and she's like, what's the sister's name?
I don't know. I can't remember
Rebecca. Rebecca.
Rachel.
Rachel. And then she hears a twig crack behind her, and she goes, Rachel? And then she runs away. And then it cuts to Rachel, and she's like, Jamie? And then she hears a twig crack behind her, and she goes, Jamie? And then she runs away. It's the exact same scene twice right next to each other.
Yeah, I don't like it. I also don't even like the actress who plays Jamie. Yeah, I just Halloween, just so Halloween sequels. I've seen enough of these. Like the idea that like we're even gonna nail the attic windows shut. it's one of those things where, like, as soon as someone says that, you know he's already in the house.
Mm-hmm.
They're nailing everybody in with him. So, Halloween sequel.
A big complaint about this that I hope I don't have with the rest of them is that this movie's bad and no fun. If a movie's bad and I can have fun with it, like, I don't know, 13 Ghosts, the worst movie I've ever seen, had a blast watching it still.
Well, that's why I think that Friday the 13th is the best slasher franchise, because all of the movies are bad, but at least they're fucking fun.
Yeah.
Like, Nightmare on Elm Street quickly becomes not fun after, like, I think, like, the fourth or fifth one. It starts to get kind of hollow. You know, Nightmare Halloween, it obviously is no longer fun after 3, and I'm sorry, but it's not going to get it's not going to get bad fun. Mainly because this is to speak specifically about Halloween. I think the biggest problem that the Halloween sequels have is that they just don't realize that they shouldn't be taking themselves as seriously as they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say the most fun part of this movie, besides the priest, is there's a scene where he's chasing them up the attic, and Rachel goes, "Jimmy, here!" and they start throwing things down the stairs.
Yeah.
And he starts walking up the stairs, and he's just, like, trudging through it and, like, throwing shit apart.
You can see him, like, looking down and, like, trying
just
to move the boxes.
Fucking shit out of here.
Yeah.
It's so fun. But I'm going to say, after you told me that, I'm most excited for the Rob Zombie ones.
Yeah. I'm most excited for the second Rob Zombie one because I have not seen it.
I haven't seen either of them.
And I've heard through the grapevine that it gets, like, a little weird and surreal and, like, dreamy.
Okay.
And that's some shit I like when it comes to spooky movies. Like, I really, really have been fantasizing about laying in my bed and watching Suspiria one of these nights. Again, I love that movie. Fantastic. And a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
By Goblin. I believe a German.
That's a German name to me.
A German, like, electronic band.
Anyway, Halloween 4 gets an F from me.
Yeah, it's a big F, and I hate to do that to Donald Pleasance, especially because he's one of my favorite murderers in Columbo. He shows up in 2 or 3 episodes every time, just knocks it out of the park.
He's the best part of this movie.
Yeah, great actor. Does a great job in this movie.
If he wasn't in this movie would get a no credit.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an insanely bad movie.
Hated it. Hated watching it. It's bad. Everyone who is involved in it
should be ashamed.
Should take a long look at themselves. Praises to John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. Good job.
For walking away. For having the good sense to walk away.
Great job.
Real good call.
So fuck this movie. Check out Halloween 3 if you haven't. Halloween 2. Take it or leave it. Any?
Yeah, just I really, really can't stress enough how Halloween 4 is just a waste.
It's insane to me
of everybody's time.
That this movie came out and then they made 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
And 11 and 12. Anyways, that's that, Mattress Man. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,